Okay, so this is our CS 109 presentation by Evan Keefe, Michael Orland, and Zachary Brooks. Basically, what our MATLAB program does is it runs data from a list of different universities and their tuition costs, room and board costs, just different associated costs, and also the population of undergrad and grad and male and female students that go to each school. So the data that we got was 25 colleges. We compiled this data ourselves, so we kind of kept it, to where we needed to meet the requirements of the project. But you have to kind of think of this project in terms of like if we had a database that gave us thousands of universities, in the United States or whatever, and took all of those and you could compare and contrast all of them, it would be a pretty helpful tool. But for the purposes of this, we're just taking, 25 pretty well-known schools and comparing and contrasting those. So the data set, the columns, obviously the first column is going to be the name of the school, and it's going to be, so you know what you're looking at and what costs are associated with it. It'll be the in-state tuition, the out-of-state tuition, the cost of room and board, books, supplies, and then it'll get into undergraduate population, graduate population, male undergraduates and female undergraduates, and it'll just kind of go through the different values for those. So this is just basically just a screenshot of our table of information. As you can see, it's got the list, the name of the university, and then it just lists everything by row. And the reason we chose this is because, for one, it's relevant to us being college students. And like I said, it could be a very, I'm sure this exists somewhere where you can take, a number of different universities and compare and contrast them in different ways. So it can just be just a beneficial tool. It's also, everything is quantifiable. And so it's very easy to work with, and manipulate. And it's just straightforward. You just understand, what you're looking at, and it's easy to, let's say, for each year, the information that we got was from 2014. So, if you could find the same information in the same structured table, or if you put together the same one, then you could easily just, put the information for that year in and run the same program and get, the same contrast of information. So, without further ado, we'll get to the code itself. And the first function is taking a second to load, but it's called max in-state tuition. Really, what it is, it's just it's comparing all of the costs of all of the universities, and it's giving you the highest and lowest costs of in-state, out-of-state, room and board, and books and supplies. And it's just taking a second to load. It's a wonderful computer. So this is just, like I said, there's no visual with this. It's just, what you see is what you get with this one. Okay, so, and it'll list the associated school with it, obviously, so you know what you're looking at. That's pretty crucial. And then next, take a look at the next. So the next spot gets into population. This button is actually subdivided into 3 different buttons. It's going to look at the undergraduate population, and this will have a visual at some point, like I said. So the graph, it's graphing all of the total undergraduate population for these universities, and the school of the name associated with that. The axis over here is in 10,000 or tens of thousands of students. So, and then along with that, it's going to give the largest undergraduate, graduate, and the smallest undergraduate and graduate classes. And then the male to female ratio, I know that that's sometimes like just a piece of data that comes with this information. So we decided to put that in with it. Okay, so the next is going to be another part of the graduate population. And so basically, it's just the same thing with the undergraduate, but it's the visualization of the graduate attendance of the school. As you can see, some of them aren't very strong in that picture, but and then the same information here. Okay, and then the last part of population will give a visual aid to the male-female ratio, or more so the actual number of students. So in case the numbers don't do it justice, then you can have an aid, and it's just comparison. Obviously, yellow is female, blue is male. So that's pretty groundbreaking. And then the last but not least is so this one's pretty cool. It actually takes the cost comparison, so it's kind of a caveat onto the max tuition. But what it does is it pops up with a list of all the schools that we have. And like I said, you have to imagine maybe a couple of thousand schools. I don't know how many there are in the United States, but you just click one and then you select it, and then another box comes up, and then you click another one. We'll do where's UIC? UIC is that's University of Illinois. Actually, no, it's the first one. Okay, so we'll pick that one, and then it automatically puts it into that text box that we learned how to construct. So, bam. So you put that in, and it comes up and it compares the two costs graphically, and also it just has a general statement, so you know the exact dollar amounts that you're going to be looking at when it comes to tuition. And that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the presentation.